Okay, magandang araw sa lahat. After we discuss the different systems for the past four uh, topics, we will be discussing now the chromosome structure. The chromosome structure is under heredity and variation, no? Pag sinabi nating heredity and variation, ito yung nagsasabi noong mga traits natin na minana natin sa ating mga magulang. So, doon sa mga minamana nating mga traits sa ating mga magulang, sino ba ang nagdadala nun? Sino ang may kapit nun para ma-transfer from our parents sa atin or from parents to offsprings. So, that is our lesson, no? Yung tinatawag natin na chromosome structure. So ano ba ang chromosome in the first place? What is a chromosome? So based in this illustration, no, makikita natin na meron tayong cell dito. This is a cell. And I know for a fact that in your grade 8 or grade 7, you have encountered already the cell. So this is a cell, no? An animal cell in particular. So itong paligid dito, no, tinatawag natin na cell membrane, itong nandito sa gilid. Now, why are we talking about the cell in the first place? Because as we go along, no, doon sa mga parts ng cell, makikita natin that one of the most important parts of the cell is the chromosome. So, kailangan nating balikan yung kahit papaano yung structure ng cell. So, going back to what I am saying, no, this is the cell membrane, and then after the cell membrane, we have the cytoplasm and its organelles, and then we have this central part here known as the nucleus. So the boundary between the cytoplasm and the nucleus is what we call the nuclear membrane. So doon sa pinakagitna, no, ng nucleus, makikita natin yung tinatawag natin na chromosome. Okay? So, kung makikita nyo dito sa illustration, ang chromosome ay binubuo din ng mga genes at yung mga genes ay binubuo ng mga DNA. So, these three terms here are interrelated with each other, which we will be discussing as we go along with our discussion. So, what is a chromosome? Chromosomes are thread-like structures located inside the nucleus of animal and even plant cells. Each chromosome is made of protein and a single molecule of deoxyribonucleic acid, or what we call DNA. So as I said a while ago, we will be discussing the DNA later. And it is passed from parents to offspring. So ibig sabihin, no, yung ating mga chromosomes ay galing sa ating mga parents. And these chromosomes contain DNA, and this DNA contains the specific instructions that make each type of living creature unique. So, doon sa chromosome, no, doon sa chromosome nandun yung ating mga DNA. Yung DNA ang uh, nagsisilbing or nagko-contain ng mga specific instruction para ang lahat ng organism ay maging unique sa bawat isa. Kahit magkamukha kayo, kahit magkasing laki kayo, the end of the day, there is really a uniqueness between each and every individual or every living creature. So, the chromosome, therefore, is the one carrying the genes and the DNA. So, physically, structurally, they are thread-like in nature. Thread-like para silang mga sinulid, no? Thread-like structure na nakikita sa loob ng plant cell at animal cell. And etymologically, no, yung term na chromosome ay galing sa Greek words color or chroma and body or soma. So, chroma for color and body for soma. So, it's a body because it's really a body, no? At bakit naman tinawag na chroma or color? It's because scientists found out that in dyes or scientists found out that these chromosomes are strongly stained by some colorful dyes in research. So ibig sabihin pag nilagyan sila ng dyes, meron silang mga stain or nagkakaroon sila ng kulay. Kaya ang tawag sa kanya ay chromosome or chroma, no? Galing siya sa word na chroma or color, body, soma. Okay? So yun ang chromosome. So, what are the main parts or what is the structure of the chromosome? Pag tinignan natin siya sa microscope, ano ang makikita natin? So, ang makikita natin ay ganito, no? Ang makikita natin ay ganito. And accordingly, scientists gave names to the parts of the chromosome. We have what we call the chromatid. Ito. Ang chromatid, no? Chromatid are symmetrical structures dito sa ating chromosome, no? Kung makikita natin dito sa illustration, itong dalawang ito, ang tawag natin dito ay chromatid. And these are what we call two sister chromatids. So, chromatid contains DNA. So, nandito yung mga DNA, no? Nandito sila, yung mga DNA. At the anaphase of mitotic cell division, sister chromatid separate and migrate to opposite poles. So, if you go back with the cell division, no, sa cell division kasi itong part na to, no, itong part na to ng chromosome naghihiwalay yan. Okay, naghihiwalay yan sa mitotic division. So, dalawa siya, kaya tinawag na sister chromatid. So, this is where the DNA is found. Another part is what we call the centromere. So, ito naman yung ating centromere. So, ang centromere rather, is the structure that joined, no, that joined the chromatids. Ibig sabihin, itong centromere na to ang nagjo-join doon sa sister chromatids. So, another thing is that spindle fibers during cell division are attached at the centromere. Ang spindle fiber ay yung parang sinulid, no, na kapag magkakaroon ng mitotic division, siya yung parang naka-attach dito sa dalawang chromatid or dito naka-attach dito sa centromere, no? Pag maghahati na siya into two. So ang tawag natin doon ay spindle fiber. So the number and position of the centromere differs in different chromosomes, which is true. Now, in centromere, it is divided or it divides rather the chromosome into two parts. No, dalawa. So dahil dito titignan natin, meron siyang upper part at merong lower part. The shorter arm is known as the P arm, while the longer arm is known as the Q arm. Okay? The centromere contains also a disc-shaped structure. Ito, makita nyo to, itong disc-shaped structure na to. We call this one as kinetochore. Okay, we call this one as kinetochore, which has a specific DNA sequence with special proteins bound to them. The kinetochore provides the center for polymerization of proteins and assembly of microtubules. So when we talk about polymerization, no? Polymerization is a process in which small molecules are chemically combined to produce a larger molecule, okay, known as polymer. So ibig sabihin doon pala sa gitna, no, doon sa gitna ng kinetochore or sa gitna ng centromere dito sa may D-shape na to are kinetochore. So dito nangyayari ang polymerization ng protein. So di kaya yung tinatawag natin na process kung saan ang mga maliliit na molecules ay nagko-combine sila para mas makapag-produce ng malalaking molecules. At ang napopolymerize dito ay yung protein. Ibig sabihin, yung mga proteins dito are being combined together. Yung smaller particles ng proteins dito ay nagko-combine together to have bigger proteins. So, ang tawag natin doon ay polymerization. So, the function of the kinetochore is the center of polymerization of proteins in the chromosome. Another part of the chromosome is what we call the telomere. The telomere is the terminal part of a chromosome. Okay? So telomeres are polar, which prevents the fusion of chromosomal segments. So ibig sabihin, polar sila. Ibig sabihin, pine-prevent niya yung pag-fuse, no, ng bawat segment ng chromosome. Okay? So these are the parts of the chromosome. No, we have the chromatids, the centromere, and in the centromere we have the kinetochore, and yung pinaka-end part noong ating chromosome, ang tawag natin sa kanila ay telomere. Okay? So how were chromosomes discovered? Scientists looking at cells under the microscope first observed chromosomes in the late 1800s. However, at that time, the nature and function of this cell structure were unclear, which is true to all discoveries before, no? Lahat naman before is unclear nung una eh. Even the cell itself, when it was being discovered by Robert Hooke, no? Noong panahon na na-discover niya, nakala niya lang mga maliliit lang na butas-butas or mga parang cell block or block structures sa isang kahoy, no, at hanggang dun lang yung nakita niya, but it was not, or he did not, no, he did not expand or expound yung kaniyang discovery at that point of time because it's still unclear because maybe of the fact that uh, merong kulang or merong mga or hindi sapat yung mga materyales or yung mga equipment para pag-aralan yung structure ng cell noon, which is the same with chromosomes, no? Chromosomes were discovered in the early or in the late 1800s, but again, uh, the nature and function, no, of these structures or the chromosomes were unclear until finally, no, in the early 1900s through Thomas Hunt Morgan, nagkaroon ng pioneering studies sa chromosomes, and Morgan made the link between chromosomes and inherited traits by demonstrating that the X chromosome is related to gender and eye color in fruit flies. So just imagine, no, from the idea only uh, of demonstrating an X chromosome to gender and eye color, yung expansion ng idea ng chromosome through the years napakadami na, no? Napakadami na noong idea or noong mga discoveries nung kung ano yung chromosome. Pero nag-umpisa lang 'yan in demonstrating that in gender there is an X chromosome, at yung isa pa sinabi niya na may kinalaman din ang chromosome sa eye color ng mga fruit flies. So, with those two very important ideas, nag-expand hanggang sa ang dami na nating nalaman or ang dami nang nalaman ng mga biologists tungkol sa chromosome. Okay? So, another thing is, do all living things have the same types of chromosome? The answer is, of course, chromosomes vary in number and shape among living things, which means that uh, among living things, we don't have the same types of chromosomes, no? I am talking about living things, not only humans. So, if you're going to compare the chromosomes of humans to other, so definitely it varies from one particular living creature to another. For instance, most bacteria have one or two circular chromosomes because bacteria are unicellular unicellular organism. Humans, on the other hand, along with other animals and plants, have linear chromosome. So mamaya makikita nyo yung linearity ng chromosome ng human. Meron tayong picture later on doon sa linearity ng chromosomes ng humans, no? Meaning, when we talk linear chromosomes, they are arranged in pairs within the nucleus of the cell. So, chromosomes of living things, especially humans, other animals and plants, are in pairs. They are arranged in pairs, okay, in the nucleus. So look at in here, and aside from that, no, the pairs of chromosomes for each and every living thing, like animals and plants, are different in number. So in this example, no, itong mga example na to, 'di ba? So merong 4, merong 24, merong 46, may 48, may 70 something. So meaning uh animals and humans and other plants have linear chromosomes, but the number of pairing of chromosomes in each of these examples or in each and every living creature is different, no? Magkakaiba yung pairing. Merong 23 pairs like us, 46 tayo, yung rice plant 24, and then meron tayo ditong chimpanzee, no? 40 something siya. Okay? So ibig sabihin, magkakaiba rin, no, yung pairing ng bawat organism. So, the answer to this question is, do all living things have the same types of chromosomes? Of course, it varies, especially in number and shape. So, how do we inherit chromosomes? So, basically, in humans, no, we inherit chromosomes from our father and our mother. Okay, one copy of each chromosome is inherited, of course, from the female parent and the other from the male parent. This explains why children inherit some of their traits from their mother and others from their father. So, ibig sabihin, kapag ka merong isang offspring, it's a combination already of the traits ng female parent at saka ng male parent. So, nai-inherit natin yung mga chromosome sa pamamagitan ng pagko-combine, no, pagko-combine ng chromosome ng ating mga magulang. Okay? So kaya yung ating itsura, may mga ilan tayong mga physical structure na nakuha natin sa nanay natin at meron naman nakuha natin sa ating tatay. Okay? So hati sila. So the pattern of inheritance is different for the small circular chromosome found in mitochondria or yung tinatawag natin yung mga unicellular organisms. Okay? Sa kanila kasi, no, mitochondrial DNA is always inherited from the female parent. Unlike us, humans, no, we are inheriting our chromosomes from the combination of the chromosomes of our father and our mother. Okay? So, dito, tignan niyo dito sa ano na to, sa illustration na to. So, yung combination ng sperm tsaka nung egg cell, yung sperm cell tsaka nung egg cell ni mama tsaka ni papa, pag nag-combine, ayan, child 1, child 2, or even child 3, child 4, kung ilan man yun. So, it's really a combination, no, of the chromosomes of the father and the mother. So, meaning, How do we inherit chromosomes from our father and mother? By means of the combination, no, yung chromosomes ng ating mga parents. So, do males have different chromosomes than female? Yes. The answer is yes. No? Magkaiba ang chromosome ng babae at ng lalaki. So, females have two X chromosomes. Ito siya. And males have X and Y chromosomes. No? So, inheriting too many or not enough copies of sex chromosomes can lead to serious problems. Ibig sabihin, kasi malimit sa hindi, or malimit kasi, mayroong mga pagkakataon na hindi kumpleto yung pagkaka-inherit ng isang individual o ng isang human doon sa X o doon sa Y. So, pag nagkaroon ng kakulangan o di kaya kasobrahan doon sa pag-inherit ng isang human doon sa X at saka doon sa Y chromosome, nagkakaroon ng problema. For example, females who have extra copies of the X chromosome are usually taller than average and some have mental retardation. While males with more than one X chromosome have this what we call Klinefelter syndrome, which is a condition characterized by a tall stature and often impaired fertility. No? Another syndrome caused by imbalance in the number of sex chromosomes is what we call a Turner syndrome. Yung Turner syndrome naman is that women with this kind of syndrome have one X chromosome only. They are very short, usually do not undergo puberty, and some may have kidneys or heart problems. So, again, there are consequences if the inheritance, no, of the X and Y chromosomes is not complete or it's not equal, talagang kakaroon ng problema doon sa offspring. So, pag dumami o di kaya kulang, doon nagkakaroon ng problema. Kaya dapat sakto yung inheritance ng X and Y chromosome kung babae ka o ng lalaki ka, no? So, 'yun. So, magkaiba, no? Magkaiba yung chromosomes ng lalaki at ng babae. Again, kapag ka X and X or 2X, yan ay babae. Kapag ka X and Y, yan ay lalaki. So, ibig sabihin, in logically speaking, the sexual orientation, no, hindi pala orientation, the sex of, no, the sex lang, yung sex or yung kasarian ng isang offspring, malimit ay talagang nagdidikta ang lalaki kasi nasa kanya yung Y chromosome. So for instance, yung lalaki, ang naibigay niya doon sa babae ay X doon sa XY, so ang magiging offspring ay babae. At kung ang naipair niya naman doon sa X nung babae ay Y, so pag pinag-combine mo yon ay XY, so lalaki. So ibig sabihin, it's the male who dictates the sexuality or yung magiging kasarian ng offspring kasi nasa kanya yung Y, no? Nasa kanya yung Y. Okay, next is what we call a homologous chromosome. What is a homologous chromosome? A homologous chromosomes are two pieces of DNA within a diploid organism which carried the same genes, one from each parental source. When we talk about diploid organism, that's already a combination of the chromosome coming from the mother and coming from the father. Pag galing lang, kung yung chromosome lang na galing sa father, ang tawag natin kasi doon haploid. Pag yung chromosome na galing lang sa mother, ang tawag din natin doon haploid. Pag nagsama yon, nagiging diploid. So when we talk about homologous chromosomes, this is already the combination, no, or two pieces of DNA, no, within a diploid organism. So it's the pairing already of the two chromosomes. So for instance, in this particular uh, illustration, kita ninyo magkahiwalay dito yung dalawang chromosome. So nagiging homologous siya pagka nagkaroon na ng recombination, nagkaroon na ng combination yung chromosome nung father at yung chromosome ng mother. So nagkakaroon dito ng combination ng mga traits, no? Kita nyo dito, nag-i-interchange sila dito. So nagkakaroon ng mixing ng traits, but the mixing of traits doesn't necessarily mean na magmi-mix yung mga traits na kung ano-ano na lang. No, hindi ganoon, no? Pag nagkaroon ng mixing ng traits dito sa part na to, pag nagkaroon na pag nagsama na yung dalawang chromosomes, nagkakaroon ng independent assortment. No, if you still remember the if you have an idea about the law of independent assortment, ang sinasabi niya ay hindi pwede magsama yung mga traits na hindi compatible. Like for instance, yung trait para sa mata, trait lang para sa mata yon. Yung trait para sa buhok, trait lang para sa buhok yun. So, you just imagine the wonders of mixing those traits na hindi na accurate, no? Alam na alam ng chromosome na ito ay para sa mata, ito ay para sa ilong, ito ay para sa bibig, ito ay para sa buhok. So hindi pwedeng magsama yung trait ng buhok at saka nung mata. Hindi rin pwedeng magsama yung trait ng mother at saka nung father na para sa bibig yung isa tapos para sa tenga yung isa. So hindi pwede 'yon. So nagkakaroon ng individuality, no? Yung pagsasama ng mga traits. So alam ng chromosome 'yon. Alam niya 'yon, no? So yung the law of independent assortment. Okay? So pag nagsama na siya, yan, nagkakaroon tayo ng tinatawag nating homologous chromosome. Okay? Next is the functions of the chromosome. So ano nga ba ang function ng mga chromosome natin? Okay? So ang function ng ating mga chromosome, the main function is to carry the genetic material from one generation to another. So going back to what I said a while ago, doon sa structure ng ating chromosome, no? Doon sa structure ng ating chromosome, makikita ninyo, balikan natin. Yan. So sa loob ng cell, doon sa pinakagitna, nandun yung chromosome. Pero sa loob ng chromosome, nandun yung mga genes. At doon sa genes, nandun yung ating DNA. So basically, sa chromosome, nandun talaga lahat ng mga genetic material. No, nandun talaga lahat ng mga genetic material na ipapasa from one generation to another. So naka-embed siya doon. So that's a very important function of the chromosome. Another thing, chromosomes play an important role and act as a guiding force in the growth, reproduction, repair, and regeneration process. So, very important, lalo na, di ba? Meron tayong tinatawag na cell division. Ayan. So, nagkakaroon ng cell reproduction. Meiosis and mitosis. So, repair and regeneration process. Chromosomes protect the DNA from getting tangled and damaged. Kasi nandun sila, naka-embed sila dun naka-embed, 'di ba? Yung telomere, polar 'yun Polar. So, iniiwasan niya na maging segmented, no? Yung mga chromosomes and magiging getting entangled sila from one to the other. So, ang chromosome ay protection din pala. Protection din ng ating mga DNA. And then another one is histone and non-histone protein help in the regulation of gene expression. And aside from that, no, pag sinabi kasi nating histone, Histone are highly basic proteins found in eukaryotic cell, and they serve as backbone, no? Or structural support of the chromosome. So nagiging structural support ng ating chromosome yung tinatawag natin na mga histones. Okay? So, bakit kailangan ng structural composition or structural part ng ating chromosome? Para yung kanyang shape ay ma-maintain niya. Hindi siya maghiwa-hiwalay para maging rigid din siya. No? So, yun. Spindle fibers attached to centromere help in the movement of the chromosome during cell division. So, di ba doon sa centromere natin kanina, meron tayong nakikitang tinatawag natin na kinetochore. So, dito sa kinetochore na to, no? Sabi nga natin kanina, dito nangyayari yung polymerization ng proteins. At doon sa polymerization ng proteins, nagkakaroon ng mga spindle fibers. Yung spindle fibers, sila ang tumutulong dito sa chromosome na to para maghati sila or para mag-divide during cell division. So without the spindle fiber, cell division is not possible. Okay? And in these spindle fibers are attached to the centromere, doon sa gitna mismo, no, dito sa may kinetochore. Okay? Another one is, each chromosome contains thousands of genes that precisely code for multiple proteins present in the body. Yung coding na yon na nangyayari sa proteins, yan ang nagiging rason doon sa ating mga hereditary traits. Nagkakaroon ng coding sa bawat trait doon sa genes. Without the coding system, malilito yung mga genes kung saan sila mag-a-attach or saan sila magmi-mix. Kung maalala nyo yung homologous chromosome na diniscuss natin kanina, once the chromosomes combine or once the chromosomes mix with each other, yung sa nanay tsaka kay tatay, kakaroon ng independent assortment yung mga genes because of the coding. Nagkakaroon kasi ng coding ng mga proteins doon para yung eksaktong trait na dapat makaparehas niya, yun lang yung may paparehas sa kanya. So tulad nga ng sabi ko kanina, hindi po pwede na yung trait para sa mata ay maihalo doon sa trait para sa bibig or para sa tenga. So may mga coding system na ginagawa ang chromosomes natin doon, which is very important, 'di ba? Okay, so tulad ng sabi natin kanina, no, doon sa structure ng ating chromosome, yung chromosome, nandoon yung ating mga genes. At doon sa mga genes, nandoon yung ating mga DNA. So unahin natin yung DNA. Ano ba ang DNA? So in the nucleus of each cell, the DNA or the deoxyribonucleic acid is packaged into thread-like structure called chromosomes, which is sabi nga natin, nasa loob siya ng chromosome. Di po ba? And then, each chromosome is made up of DNA. Doon sa DNA na yon, itong DNA na to are tightly coiled by histones. Sabi ko nga sa inyo kanina, yung histones are proteins na nagsiserve as structural support, no, doon sa ating chromosome. Okay? So, in the DNA, if we are going to look at the DNA in a microscope, ito yung makikita natin doon. No, ito yung makikita natin. Parang ganito yung itsura niya. So, ang tawag natin dito sa itsura na to ay yung tinatawag na double helix. Double helix siya kasi makita nyo dalawa. Okay? Merong isang part dito at merong isang part dito. Okay? Ngayon, doon sa gitna nitong double helix structure na to, ay makakita tayo ng tinatawag nating nitrogenous bases. Okay? Doon kasi sa gitna, no, the information in DNA is stored as a code made up of 4 chemical bases. So, the information in the DNA are being stored in this what we call nitrogenous bases. The nitrogenous bases are composed of chemicals or chemical components or chemical bases known as adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. Okay? So, ngayon, itong mga nitrogenous bases na to, no, nape-pair sila sa bawat isa, yung adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. So, they will be paired, no? Meron silang kaukulang pairing na nangyayari doon sa loob. So, yung adenine, nape-pair siya sa thymine, at yung guanine, nape-pair siya sa cytosine. So, ito yon, adenine, thymine, guanine, at saka cytosine. Okay, we call this one as base pairs. Ngayon, yung itong pinaka-backbone niya, this is composed of sugar and phosphate. Kaya ang tawag natin sa kanya ay sugar phosphate backbone. Now, 'di ba meron tayong sugar phosphate dito, tapos meron tayong base pair dito na adenine, thymine, guanine, cytosine. Pag pinagsama natin yung sugar phosphate at yung isa doon sa bawat nitrogenous base, no? Ang tawag natin sa kanya ay nucleotide. Okay? We call that one as a nucleotide. Okay? So, yan yung structure ng ating DNA. At again, dito sa ating DNA, nandyan naka-embed yung mga information. No? Diyan naka-embed yung mga information ng ating heredity o ng ating mga genes. No? Nandito siya. Nakasulat siya dito. Just imagine, ang daming traits na nandyan. Ang daming mga traits na naka-code dyan sa DNA na yan. Okay, so again, no? Ang ating DNA, yung structure ng DNA ay matatagpuan sa ating chromosome. At yung DNA natin is composed of a sugar phosphate backbone. At yung nasa gitna, yung base pairing natin are chemical bases or the nitrogenous bases. Adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. So, yung pairing natin, yung pairing natin is adenine, thymine, and guanine, and cytosine. Okay? And then we have what we call the genes. So, the gene is the basic physical and functional unit of heredity. So, genes are made up of DNA. Some genes act as instructions to make molecules called proteins. However, many genes do not code for proteins. In humans, genes vary in size from a few hundred DNA bases to more than 2 million bases. An international research effort called Human Genome Project, which worked to determine the sequence of human genome and identify the genes that it contains, estimated that humans have 20,000 and 25 between 20 and 25,000 genes. So, ibig sabihin, ang carrier ng ating mga DNA kung saan naka-embed yung ating mga traits ay yung tinatawag natin na genes. Okay, so going back to the structure of the chromosome, so meron kang chromosome, sa loob ng chromosome mo may mga genes doon, tapos sa loob ng genes, doon sa mga genes, nandoon yung ating mga DNA. So, ibig sabihin, class, that chromosome really is a very important aspect of heredity and variation. Heredity means heredity is the transferring of traits from parents to offspring, while variation is about the differences in traits of each and every living organism. No, variation. Kasi grabe talaga ang variation natin. Imagine how many billions of people around the world, pero lahat yun may unique characteristic. So, we vary from each and every one. Kaya, at papaano nangyayari yung variation na yun? Paano nadadala yung mga traits na yun from one parent to offspring, tapos yung offspring, magkakaroon ulit ng anak yon, madudugtungan pa yon, magkakaanak pa yung anak nila, yung anak ng anak nila, magkakaanak ulit. So, heredity. And every transfer of trait, nagkakaroon ng variation. At sino ang gumagawa nun? Sino ang nagke-carry nung function na yon? Yung ating chromosome. So, without our chromosome, no, without our chromosome, baka magkakamukha tayo lahat. Without our chromosome, walang variation sa living organism. So meaning, the carrier or uh, the main mechanism of heredity and variation is the chromosome. And in the chromosome again, nandun yung genes, at doon sa genes nandun yung DNA. At saan matatagpuan ang ating chromosome? Sa ating nucleus. Okay? Doon sa ating nucleus. Okay? So, I hope that I shared with you uh, added knowledge today. So, thank you very much. God bless. Keep safe. Keep safe and always pray that everything will go back to normal soon. Thank you very much. Good day.